Close your eyes. Let your body sink. Let everything around you grow quiet. Breathe in slowly and breathe out. There is nothing you need to do right now. Nowhere you need to be. Just this moment. Just this breath. Just this story. Tonight, I will take you to a kingdom far away. To a land of mountains and rivers, of silk and stone, of seasons that turn slowly, like the pages of an old book. This is a story of a promise, tested by time, by power, and by distance. A promise between two young people who should never have met. And yet, they did. This is one of the most beloved stories in all of Korean folklore. It comes from the Joseon Dynasty, the great kingdom of Korea that stood for 500 years. A kingdom of scholars and poets, of strict laws and quiet ceremonies, of cherry blossoms falling on temple roofs and moonlight on the surface of still ponds. In this kingdom, there were rules for everything. Rules for how to bow, rules for how to speak, rules for who could marry whom. But love did not follow rules. This Joseon Dynasty love story has been told for hundreds of years. Her name was Chunhyang, and this is her story. Before we begin, if these stories help you sleep, a like or a subscribe means a great deal. It helps more stories reach more people who need a little quiet at the end of the day. Now, let the story carry you. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let your hands rest open. In the southern province of Jeolla, in a town called Namwon, there stood a pavilion. It was called Gwanghalu, the pavilion of the white cold moon. It sat beside a river, surrounded by willows, whose branches trailed in the water like long green fingers. In spring, the air around it smelled of flowers. In summer, it was cool with shade. In autumn, the maples turned red and gold, and their reflections burned in the river below. People came from far away to see it. Artists came to paint it. Poets came to write about it. Children came to chase each other around its stone pillars. And on a warm spring afternoon, a young woman came to swing. Her name was Chunhyang. She was 16 years old. Her hair was dark and long, pinned with a jade ornament that caught the light when she moved. Her dress was white and pale green, like young leaves in morning mist. She stood on the swing, holding the ropes, and she rose, higher and higher. Her dress billowed around her. Her laughter carried over the water. She laughed freely, without restraint. The willows swayed, the river shimmered, and on the pavilion above, a young man stood still. His name was Yi Mongryong. He was the son of the new magistrate of Namwon, a man of power and position. Mongryong himself was 16, clever and well-read, with a face that made people look twice. He had come to the pavilion that day with his servant Bangja to enjoy the spring air. But now he stood very still, and he forgot about the spring air entirely. He had read many poems about beauty. He had thought he understood what they meant. He understood now. "Bangja," he said quietly. "Yes, young master." "Who is that girl? Your breathing is slow now. Your body is heavy. Let the story continue." Bangja knew everything about everyone in Namwon. That was his gift. "Her name is Chunhyang," he said. "Her mother is Volge, a retired entertainer, once part of a class of women trained in music, poetry, and dance for the noble class. Chunhyang herself was raised differently. She was educated as a proper young woman. She is known throughout the town for her virtue." Mongryong listened carefully. He understood what Bangja was telling him. In Joseon society, a person's birth determined everything. The son of a magistrate and the daughter of an entertainer belonged to different worlds. The law, the family, society itself, all would say no. But he had watched her on the swing. He had seen the way she moved, the way she laughed freely without restraint, the way she seemed completely unaware that anyone was watching. "Bring her to me," he said. "Young master, she is not that kind of girl." "I know," said Mongryong. "I just want to meet her." Banja went, and Chunhyang came. She walked across the grass toward the pavilion. Her steps were careful, her expression was calm, but her heart was not calm at all. They stood facing each other. The river moved behind them. The willows whispered. Mongryong spoke first. "What is your name?" "Chunhyang," she said. "And how old are you?" 16. He smiled. "The same as me." She said nothing, but the corner of her mouth moved slightly. That evening, Mongryong came to her home. He sat with her mother Wolgae. He drank tea. He was polite and careful with his words, and then he said what he had come to say. "I wish to marry Chunhyang." Wolgae looked at him for a long time. She knew the reality clearly. In Joseon, marriages required family approval, official ceremony, and matching social status. A magistrate's son could not formally marry the daughter of a retired entertainer. Not yet. Perhaps not ever. But she looked at his face, and she saw something there that she believed. That night, under a full moon, Mongryong and Chunhyang made their promise. They bowed to each other. They drank from the same cup. They spoke quiet words that only they could hear. It was not a formal wedding recognized by the state. In the eyes of Joseon law, they were not yet married, but in their hearts, it was the most real thing in the world. Let your eyes stay closed. Let the sounds around you fade. You are safe. You are resting. Summer came, then autumn. Mongryong and Chunhyang spent those months in a kind of quiet happiness that neither of them had words for. They walked by the river in the evenings. They read poetry to each other. They talked about everything and also about nothing. Chunhyang learned the particular way he tilted his head when he was thinking. Mongryong learned the particular sound of her laugh when something surprised her. These small things, these are the things that make a love real. Then one morning, everything changed. Mongryong's father received a letter from the capital. He had been appointed to a new position in Hanyang, the great city that would one day be called Seoul. It was an honor. The family would move immediately. Mongryong came to Chunhyang's home that evening. He sat across from her. He could not look at her face. "I have to leave," he said. Chunhyang was very still. "When?" "In 3 days." The silence between them was heavy. "Take me with you," she said at last. He looked at her then. His face was full of pain. "I cannot, not yet. My father does not know about us. I must go first. I must pass the civil examinations. I must establish myself. Then I will come back for you, I promise." Chunhyang looked at him for a long time. "Do you promise?" "With everything I have," he said. On the morning of his departure, she stood at the gate of her home. She did not cry. She had decided she would not cry. He mounted his horse. He looked back at her once, just once, and then he rode away, down the long road, between the autumn fields, until she could no longer see him. She stood there for a long time after he was gone, the gate behind her, the empty road before her. Then she went inside, and she waited. Your body is growing heavier. Your thoughts are slowing. That is good. Let yourself sink deeper. Winter came to Namwon, then spring again. A new magistrate arrived. His name was Beon Hakdo. He was a man of appetite, for food, for wine, for power, and for beauty. On his first day in Namwon, he held a great banquet. Music was played, food was served. Beon sat at the head of the table, pleased with himself and with the world. Then someone mentioned Chunhyang. "There is a girl," said one of his officials, "known throughout the province for her beauty. She was the companion of the previous magistrate's son." "Bring her," said Beon. Chunhyang was brought. She stood before him in the great hall. Her face was calm, her hands were still. "You will serve me," he said. It was not a question. Chunhyang looked at him directly. "I am a married woman," she said. "I made a promise to my husband. I will not break it." Bayon's expression darkened. "That boy is gone. He is not coming back. You have no husband." "He will come back," she said. "And even if he does not, a promise made under the moon is a promise kept forever." The hall was very quiet. Bayon stood slowly. "Take her away," he said quietly, "and lock her in the prison. Let your breathing be very slow now. In and out. You are safe, you are warm, you are resting." The prison of Namwon was cold. The walls were stone, the floor was stone. A small window near the ceiling let in a thin rectangle of sky. Chunhyang sat with her back against the wall. Her hair was loose, her white dress was grey with dust. Her mother came every day. She brought rice and cloth. She sat outside the bars and spoke in a low voice. "Just agree," her mother whispered. "Just say yes. He will treat you well. You will have a comfortable life." Chunhyang shook her head. "I cannot." "Chunhyang, think of yourself." "Mother, I have thought of nothing else." Her mother wept. Chunhyang watched her weep and felt the weight of it, the weight of her mother's fear, the weight of the stone walls, the weight of all those days without news from Hanyang. But beneath the weight, there was something she held on to, a voice, a face, a promise made under a full moon. "I will come back for you." She held those words in the dark, when the days were difficult, when the cold was unbearable, when hope felt like something she had only dreamed. She did not know if she believed it, but she held on to it anyway. Because what else is faith, if not holding on to something in the dark? Outside, the seasons changed. Cherry blossoms fell on the prison roof and no one swept them away. Summer rain drummed on the stones. Autumn winds found every crack in the walls. Chunhyang waited. "Your eyes are heavy. Your mind is drifting. Let it drift. We are almost at the end of the story." In Hanyang, far to the north, Mongryong had not forgotten. He had studied without rest. He had passed the civil examinations with the highest marks of his year, and the king himself had given him a secret appointment. He was to become an Amhangosa, a secret royal inspector. In Joseon, these inspectors were chosen personally by the king and sent into the provinces in disguise, with full authority to investigate corrupt officials, hear the grievances of common people, and deliver justice in the king's name. No one knew who they were, not the magistrates, not the guards, not even the people they were sent to protect. Mongryong traveled south, dressed as a beggar. His clothes were torn, his face was dirty, his horse was old. He passed through village after village. He saw things that troubled him deeply. He wrote everything down. When he reached Namwon, he heard about Chunhyang immediately. Everyone in the town knew her story. They spoke of her in low voices, with a kind of reverence, the girl who would not bend. Mongryong went to her mother's house first. Wolgae opened the door. She looked at the ragged man before her and did not recognize him. He told her who he was. She covered her mouth with both hands. She reached out and held his arm as if she needed to feel that he was real. "She is in the prison," she said. "You must go to her." "I will," he said quietly. "But not yet." He went first to Bion's great banquet. It was the magistrate's birthday. The whole town had been commanded to attend. Mongryong entered as a beggar. The guards laughed. The officials turned away. Bion himself made a joke. Mongryong sat down. He ate. He drank. He said nothing. Then someone called for poetry. Each guest was to write a verse in honor of the magistrate's birthday. Mongryong took up a brush. He wrote 4 lines. He placed the paper on the table. The poem said, "Good wine fills the golden cup, the blood of 10,000 people. Fine food fills the jade plate, the flesh of 10,000 people." The hall was very quiet. And then, from outside, a horn, clear and long. The sound that announced the arrival of a royal inspector. Your body is completely still. Just let the end of the story come. Mongryong stood. He produced his seal, the seal of the royal inspector. The hall erupted. Officials ran. Guards stepped back. Bion's face went pale. Mongryong's voice was very calm. "Bring Chunhyang here." They brought her. She walked into the great hall. Her dress was worn. Her face was thin. She looked around the hall. She saw the chaos. She saw the officials bowing low. She saw Bion on his knees. And then she saw him, standing at the center of it all. Different now, taller, his face older, but his eyes were exactly the same. She stopped walking. He crossed the hall toward her. He stopped when he was very close. He looked at her face, at the exhaustion she had carried for so long. "I told you I would come back," he said quietly. She looked at him. For a long moment she said nothing. Then, "You are late," she said. He laughed, a real laugh, the kind that surprises you. And she, after all those months, after all that waiting, after all that cold and wait and silence, she laughed too. The story of Chunhyang is complete. She waited, she endured, she did not bend. He studied, he worked, he came back. A promise made under the moon is a promise kept forever. This story has been a cornerstone of Korean folklore for hundreds of years. Mothers have told it to daughters. Teachers have taught it to students. Singers have performed it on stages from Seoul to the furthest villages. Because it is not just a love story. It is a story about what it means to hold on to something when everything around you says let go. It is a story about dignity, about the kind of strength that does not shout but simply refuses. And somewhere in the old town of Namwon, the pavilion of the white cold moon still stands beside the river. Willows trail in the water, the seasons still turn, and on warm spring afternoons you can almost hear it, the sound of a swing, the sound of laughter carrying over the water. Now, let your body be heavy. Let your mind be still. You are safe, you are warm, you are resting. The story is complete. The night is quiet. The moon is full. Just sleep, gentle sleep, deep, restful sleep. Good night.